Hello and welcome back. This is ProTaleDev back with another crystal sales video, and this is the final video. I'm going to be going through everything that I've done for the 7th day, and then I'm going to probably release another video that is specifically about gameplay, maybe a short trailer, what to expect. So a quick mention that the 7th day was actually supposed to be done a lot sooner. However, due to unexpected issues and things related in the family and a couple of IRL issues that came out of nowhere, I wasn't able to record and edit and be able to do this video. So that's the reason why there's been a little bit of a delay for this 7th day. Anyway, moving on, what you're going to immediately see, I'm going to start off with the animation. So with the sharks should be a slight bobbing with them with their movement. However, the main changes are actually with the other monsters. So if I go to the whale, as you can see, we got this new model which looks a bit more detailed, and then what it's going to do is it does have an actual animation to it. So if I just click this and I press play, you'll see an actual animation. And that looks very cool when you're in the ocean sailing and you see this whale coming towards you. I've also lowered down the amount of enemies that will be attacking you during the events, which is great because it was actually just too many. You would almost certainly be damaged. Of course, you should expect it to be quite tough on hard, but on normal and easy, it shouldn't be as much of an issue, especially with the sharks, as long as you're quick to react. The other thing is that we have a monster now, a proper monster. It looks like a giant fish. If I just go to animations, once again, you'll be able to see that you can see its actual movement. And it looks better than what we actually already had before. I think it looked a bit weird before, but now it looks like an actual sea creature. Also, the ocean does have a little bit more animations as well. Now, talking about animations, we can talk about the next thing that I've done, which is if we go into our main scene. So let's go to here, day, and we go to our individual ships. What I can quickly show, and we'll show it with the sloop, what I can actually show is that it now actually sinks. So what the animation looks like is it'll have a specific idle animation which is above the ocean. When the water hits full, so basically when it gets to maximum amount that it can take in terms of water, in terms of damage, it will play this sink animation. So you will have a chance to quickly try and get off the ship, but it's a very short time. If you're in the middle of the ocean and you sink, it's pretty much over with. What will happen is that if I quickly press play right here, if I actually just go in and play. So just to demonstrate it right here, if I just quickly set sail, and we have this right here, our ship, I'm just going to click on the side just so I can change its health. So I'm going to set its health to 200, and then I'm just going to press play, and then it'll start sinking. You can quickly go around, you can jump off if you want, or you can jump back on. If you do sink with the ship, what will happen is, as you can see right now, what will happen is I'll get updated. So the ship will reappear here on one of the, and then it'll actually just disappear. It'll basically update, and then you have to recraft it again. But as you can see, when you fall into the ocean, if the ship has already sank, your checkpoint will be updated. If the ship is still okay, then you'll still spawn on the ship whenever you're using it. But in this case, it got updated so that now you'll end up on the dock, on the original island. I'll quickly show the other three as well. I'll quickly show the other two ships as well. So we have right here, let's do this one first. So we have right here the brigantine, and we can show it sinking animation. Very similar, a little bit slower, so a little bit more time, but not a whole lot more. And we can also show the galleon. Well, as that one's still sinking, it will respawn, and then we can show this galleon, which is even slower, but even more time. Obviously, the bigger the ship, the slower it'll sink. So that's the animations for them sinking. Now the next thing is the temperature. The temperature is finished. I'm just going to quickly mute inside here. Let's just mute the audio, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show off the temperature. In fact, I'll go into the larger view. I just had it on that while I was working on it. Here we go. So here we go. So as you can see at the top right, we have the burn, hot, normal, cold, and freezing temperatures. And in the top right, you should be able to keep an eye on it. It's separate from the other UI. Basically, different things will cause your temperature to drop or increase. So depending on what you eat, will increase the temperature or lower it, but also what kind of action you do. So if we, for example, jump in the water, slowly the temperature will drop. So if I just keep doing it, slowly it'll drop to cold. And what happens when you're cold is that your speed slowly gradually decreases. So there's no actual danger in death or anything like that. It's not like an instant kill. Instead, it's just like it makes your life a little bit more uncomfortable and more difficult. So if I just keep going all the way to freezing, you can see how much slower we are once we reach that point. So there we go, now we're on freezing and it's much slower. It's going to be very annoying, especially getting around ships and stuff. So you want to try and keep that up. One of the ways to do that is, of course, you can craft a campfire. This will increase your temperature. So as you can see, what I've just quickly done, I've come back in, is I've given myself a bunch of resources so that we can craft a campfire. So as you can see, crafted a campfire, and what I can do is just stand next to it, and on the top right, my temperature is going straight back up. So now we can move again. Of course, it can also go really high. Eating, like I said, does increase the temperature. It's up to you to figure out which ones do what. But a secret is that mushrooms increase the heat, while fruits decrease the heat, the temperature. So as you can see, we're now at burning, but nothing's happening. You can't see any immediate difference. What's actually happening is, to keep you cool, your hunger is now being used even quicker. So 3 times as fast than it should be. And it would be ideal to try and cool yourself off. One way is to eat, which is a quicker way, or you can just jump into the ocean. But it's not exactly the quickest method. Definitely eating is much quicker. You can bring your temperature down quite quickly by eating a bunch of these, or drinking some of the higher level ones. Another thing you might have saw is that the pause is now working. It was a bit broken last time, but now it was working. So the pause menu is completely fine. Also, the crafting amounts, I very briefly showed the crafting, but a lot of the crafting amounts have been changed and been lowered. You also start the game with some rope and some cloth to help you build that first ship. There's been a bunch of sound changes as well all the way through. A bunch of changes in general to bugs, because there's a lot of issues with bugs. And I've also toned down on the lighting and the graphical aspects, because the world's so big and so it was causing issues that way. But honestly, it was just kind of slowing the build down, which makes sense. You know, bigger world means bigger lighting. Usually you don't build it like this. And other thing is that it didn't seem necessary, because the whole aspect and style of the game is like low poly, and not as much detail. Obviously the animals do have detail, but these islands and things and most of the environment is very low poly, and so when you have really high lighting, it's got to look really good to make low poly look good, and in this case it wasn't really adding too much, so I removed it. Another thing, these are all finished, but inside here we have our levels, same as before, but we can click on them and they'll be different. So if I show off the easy difficulty, you'll see that it's actually just the normal environment, normal daytime. We can go to the normal difficulty, and that is the morning time. So you'll have a slightly different effect to everything. Lighting looks slightly different, and I think that just adds a little bit of difference to those levels as well. And then the final difficulty, which is the hard one, is nighttime, and it's going to have the hardest events and things like that. So it looks pretty cool, and it looks very atmospheric. It's going to be really difficult, and you're going to have to stay on your toes. So with all that in mind, basically once I built this whole area, I ended up testing it So I had to test each level to see if I could get to the end. It took a long time for me to test it, a lot longer than I expected, and which is fine. If any players want to have like a long run, they can. But basically, it took a long time for me to finish it, and when I finished it, there was quite a few bugs that I noticed, which I fixed now. That's why it took so long, and then obviously I had a lot of real world issues that just came out of nowhere, which I had to worry about. So ultimately, that's everything from this game. So I'm going to release this on itch.io. It should be available when this video goes live. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a gameplay trailer or something along those lines. Okay, so that's everything. This has been ProTaleDev, and I'll see you next time.